going to be live. We are live in Avio's Journey YouTube channel. It is good to be here. I'm excited about today. We're going to take a behind the scenes look at voice acting. And I suppose it's voice acting from my point of view, because we'll be taking a look around. I'm going to use my camera and kind of pan around my setup, talk about what I do on a daily basis, try to get you into my booth. I can move the camera. I just want to warn you that my microphone, I think it'll pick me up still. I think it'll be fine, because once I go into the booth, I should be able to be picked up from my other microphone as well. So hopefully that should be fun. But I wanted to do today because I thought it'd be pretty cool for you just to get an idea of what happens from a voice acting point of view, or from me on a daily basis. So basically what you see here behind you is my studio that I set up. What up, Big Jim, B-Doggy? I come from a theater background. So, hey, Clint, good to have you. Paul, good to have you. I built sets. So I directed, coached actors, acted myself, but I also was a technical director, designed sets, built sets and things. So, the importance of the look and feel is means a lot to me. What's up, Marcus? So, hey, Nick. So I thought today what would be cool is to use my camera. It is connected to an HDMI cord. They wouldn't let me, because of my account, use my phone. I was going to try to use my phone to go around, but it won't let me. However, this should be fine. So I have two parts, and what I'm going to do is kind of start to take you here. I'm going to try to make sure that the camera isn't too wobbly, but bear with me. I'll do my very best to keep it still. But I'm going to kind of take you on a tour real quick. So right here, as you can tell, this is my editing station. Let me pull up my camera here, make sure I get it so that you can see here. Okay, so this is my editing station from my point of view, or from what you see. But if I turn you around, this is... Now, look, I'm a Diet Pepsi. I love Diet Pepsi. And this is my editing station. And basically, I have some lights up here. So if you see up in the corner, I have this light, as well as this, which was an actual piece from my booth that my Whisper Room that didn't work out so well. The LEDs didn't work. So they had to send me a new set, and I kept that set, and it actually works kind of well. I have on this side, I've got some light here. Back here, I've got some light. I know people have asked kind of how I do the broadcast and so forth, and I like to have enough light on me, because there was times where if I turn it off, it doesn't look too good. But anyways, so you can see I kind of got it set up. Now, what I did is in my recording editing booth, I set it up to where you could see this really kind of cool background. I've got some things up there, but if we pan over, you can see that actually my walls, I know you're getting to see behind the scenes, my walls are actually blue. So is it cheating? Probably. But I think it looks better if you get to look at me like this. And by the way, I'm looking up so I can see like the computer screen about what it looks like. So anyways, I have some pair of JBL speakers here, or monitors, excuse me. I have, and this is for my editing station as well. This is editing. It's not in my booth yet, but I have the RE20 here. And if you notice, I have actually, if you can pat down, if you can see, whoa, well, anyways, it's the FET head. And I like to connect that. It helps out because sometimes I run some things in here, like the fan, because it can get hot up in here. And get hot upstairs. I'm actually upstairs. So I actually like that, and it works out really well. If you notice too, this is a really cool cord. So I was looking on Amazon to try to find an XLR cord that actually bends without breaking as much, because a lot of them break. And I found this one, and it's actually pretty cool. It's like an Amazon Prime kind of one, and it worked out great. It was only a couple bucks. Maybe under $10 for it. So it's a really nice one, and they come in different sizes. I really like that one. As you can see down here, I've got my Apollo Twin my Universal Audio Apollo Twin, what I run everything through. And of course, I have an iMac station, and I do have Adobe Audition, if you can see it back here. Now, I wanted to show you something kind of interesting that I did. I don't know if other people do it. I'm sure they do, but I actually I'm going to stand up here. Let me move my microphone up. I'm standing up here, but I actually like to use my booth to hold up stuff. So if you notice over here, I actually, and let me take my camera around. I actually use my booth to hold up some things here. Now I can't, let me see if I can get some light here on it. I apologize about the light. Let's see. Hurry. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is actually try to bring up, oh, there we go. There. All right. I'm using some camera light. So basically, anyways, I've got some things here that are hanging on it and so forth. But let me take you around. So this is my actual booth here. Hopefully you guys can see that is my booth. And this is the room that I'm in. Hopefully you can still hear me. But if we kind of come around, you can see this is inside my booth. Now, I just want to point out something to you. Of course, I've got the Sennheiser 416. But if you notice on this side, it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing on this side. That's because on this side, I actually have back here 4 inches thick of Corning, Owens Corning insulation. And if I look down, you can see, for those of you who know, as you're working as a voice actor, like I've got to pad this thing as much as possible. I actually built some of these panels up here too to go on the ceiling because, you know, I love Whisper Room. They're great, but you've got to really deck out that area in order for the sound to be okay, you know, because it can be a pain in the butt. So anyways, if you just take a kind of look at my room and my space, there's kind of the space. You pan around and you can see the open. Now I have a 4x6 Whisper Room. And if you look up at the top, you can see there's not a lot of room at the top. I barely, I have this room it kind of slopes down. So that's kind of the way it is. But I love to use my room or my Whisper Room as a holding station as well. Also, I wanted to show you guys something over here. This is kind of cool. So on this side, I know this is back behind it, but these are some panels that I actually built. And there you can see, I don't know how much you can see that it's coming off of the wall. So these panels I built, they're basically, those are 2-inch ones, but again, it's Corning, Owens Corning, and it's framed out with 1x4, and that frame holds the Corning, the Owens Corning in it with some fabric that goes around the other side, and it actually works great. If you decked out your entire studio with it, it would work very well. So basically, I come drop off my kids in the morning. You know, about 8:39, I finally settle into the booth or this area, and I kind of live here. Now, what's really cool, let me show you this. I think it's cool. I've got my own bathroom off to the side, which is really nice. In my old house, when I first started in my hobo fort, you know what I mean? It was just this, but this was my dream to set it up. And those of you who look back at the very first video, I'm not saying do that, but if you did, you would see that I was in, you know, my packing blanket hut, and there's nothing wrong with that. I grew my business in it, but this was kind of my dream to have this set up. And what I would love to do is put more stuff on the walls. But I will tell you, I actually try to narrate all my audiobooks in my booth standing up, because it gets like tough sitting down in here for a while. It really does. Overdone. Like it hurts my butt. Be straight up honest with you. So I do a lot of editing and sitting down. So I try to get up as much as I can. Kind of love one of those desks that raise. But anyways, so I'm digressing. So as I come in here in the morning at about 9, I start working. Sometimes I can get to work earlier, like 8, but you know, I have young kids and my wife goes to work earlier. So as I come in, I start that, and I usually have a whole bunch of work from sites like Fiverr. I'm working on 3 or 4 audiobooks, usually all the time. I have training that I do with voiceover students that I have. I do that throughout the day. We do this live. Social media. So what I want to tell you, behind the scenes, the majority of the work I do is editing. I do social media. I do contacting people back, answering emails. About 20% of the work I do is actual voiceover work. I'll go in the booth and record for a few minutes, and then I come back out here and spend the rest of the time doing all my work through this and that. I do have a printer up here. I'm just kind of telling you everything I have. I do have a printer up here, which is nice, especially when I have to print out NDAs if they won't accept online signatures. That sucks. Or I've got to fax something or scan it. So that's kind of something neat. But I then, after 1 and 2, I've got calls and training that goes throughout the day until even into the night, where I come up here and I actually work sometimes 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And then after that, I work after that if I have to. And I do take breaks in between, of course, from probably around 5 until 10 or 5 until 9 or 10. I spend that time with my family. But I noticed that now that I do this full time, I work way more than I did, of course, when I wasn't full time. But the important thing is, I want to show you is that this is my chair. If any of you are wondering, I decided to get, now you see I got some blankets in the corner too, because just as in any space, I tried deaden the sound in here. And even though I have all of this stuff, as you know, the thin foam doesn't do well with low frequencies whatsoever. So I have a little, I have the Owens Corning there, but it's only 2 inches thick. It's not 4 inches. And if you look up, don't get dizzy, you can see I have it kind of going on my ceiling a little bit. I tried to roll some stuff up back there, not because, let me see if does it work? Oh no, there we go. Not because I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing, but because I'm an idiot and I don't want to spend the extra money right now to get some actual stuff that will help a little bit more. But this does help some. But anyways, there was some stuff down there. But I was showing you the chair because if you have a chair, I actually opted for a gaming chair to sit in because it's super comfortable. I love that it works and it's super quiet, because I know I was just looking at the last one. Aoto said that about it being quiet. I used to use a wood chair. Oh, it was a mess. Now, if you look over here, there's that swivel chair. I bought that because the idea was I was going to go into my booth. I was going to go into my booth and narrate audiobooks and be able to sit down, and it's a level one, so it raises up. But the only problem is that for that particular one, it kind of like pushes me forward, and I always feel like I'm falling off of it. So for long periods of time, I end up just standing up, and I leave my booth and I do a little bit of walking around while I narrate, not in the middle of narrating, but, like to take breaks. Well, another little cool thing that you can do too is a nice chair. If you look at that chair right over there, that's a nice one. That actually is like a cushion chair. And I had found chairs like that at a previous place where I worked, so I purchased my own, and I love that chair. It's really nice. That's a nice one too. It's quiet, but it has a nice cushion, and you can sit in it. It doesn't swivel or anything like that, but it is definitely nice. One thing I wanted to point out too for you guys, if you look on the floor, this is an interesting thing. Sorry about the camera messing up here, but on the floor, we've got, that's because of my arm. On the floor, there is these panels, and this is all wood floor, actually, if you can see behind there. And these panels on the floor, they are simple carpeted panels that I got from Amazon. And basically these panels, let's see if I can get so I got this, by the way, this camera I'm using is a camera from Best Buy. That's one of those Logitech. It was like $200. It's a good camera, but it definitely has a hard time focusing sometimes. But anyways, back to my, if you have floor issues, like if you have a wooden floor or anything like that, or you want something, these are really nice. They come in blocks, like you saw those different colors. They're just like those connected floor tiles, and they're really kind of cool, actually. They do well. They deaden the sound. They're cushiony, and I have them throughout the entire room, and it was fairly cheap. It was under, I think it was under like $100 or so to do the whole entire room, and you saw it went all the way around. You can also cut them as well, as long as you don't cut the part, where you gotta interconnect them. But those work out really well. So, I do all of that work, everything from here. I do all my stuff in there, and then I come out here. Now, all the video work, of course, I do out here. When I first started my podcasting, I did all of it in my booth and everything. But as I've gotten this, and this being a broadcast mic, the RE20, and it's a dynamic mic, and because of the Fed head, I can actually reduce the volume so I get less noise. And yes, there is a little bit of reverb, but it actually sounds pretty good. So it's not bad. I don't know how well it sounds on YouTube, and YouTube lives aren't the best, I think, but for sound wise, but for the purposes of me doing actually recorded stuff through my DAW, it actually sounds pretty good. So yeah, so that's my setup. If you have any questions about any of these, one more thing. I actually built my desk. So if you look under here, you see the garbage can, but these are metal. And you see those things down there, which are the actual things. I just bought all that from Lowe's, right? So if you look at my tips kit, you see this. So like this is like one of those pieces of just straight like pieces of wood you buy, from like Lowe's or Home Depot. And then if you look underneath, I know you're probably like, you're dizzy. Don't throw up on me. But if you look underneath, you can see I stained it and put some stuff. I put those brass, or not brass, but the those flanges or whatever together, and then just hooked them in there. And they if you have an Allen wrench or whatever, it can tighten them up. And it was really nice because I wanted my speakers up. So I built this. Now it ended up costing all of this hardware. If you've never bought it, you know that this piping costs actually a lot of stinking money. So this actually ended up costing me around $200 for this desk. However, what I love about the desk, though, is that I can attach anything. Now, I wanted to show you again. This is cool. So this, my arm, okay, this is you can see it's a Rode. That's the Rode like podcaster or whatever. And it's really nice because this is really great. And it does an awesome job. It moves. It's very sturdy because I've gotten some cheap ones. And if you try to get arms before and buy the cheap ones, you know what I mean. This one was around like $100. But what's really cool about this, if you can see, is that right here, all right, it has this connection and this actually pops out, which makes it really cool. And you can actually also drill a hole in your desk. It comes two ways where you can actually like build it into your desk. So that's really useful as well. Now that was $100, but I can tell you after buying a couple of different ones that were $15 or $20, it is well worth it because this moves fantastic. It just has held up wonderfully, and it's strong and easy to move and so forth. So that's kind of like my arm. And yeah, so if you have any questions, put them over there. I know I just wanted to kind of give you a behind the scenes look at kind of what my life is every single day. So let's see. Thank you guys. There are a lot of people joining today. Marcus, Nick, Big Jim, Paul, Clint, Steve, Ayato, was putting together the studio a progressive upgrade, or did you go in with a budget and just went at it? So some of the main equipment, like my Sennheiser 416 and my Apollo Twin, because in the end, all honesty, on a side note, all this stuff looks great, but the most important gear in here to me actually is my Apollo Twin, my Universal Audio Apollo Twin. That interface is really probably one of the most important things to me in my booth. The environment in there, that setup is super important, whether it has to be in a booth or in a hobo fort, which is what I call packing blankets and PVC pipes. That's important, as well as my 416, that mic. So those things are some things that I had earlier on before I purchased all of these things. But honestly, as I built my business and I earned money from my business, I just poured that money back into it. I knew I wanted this setup a long time ago. Like when I started, I just, didn't know how long it was going to take me. So when I had the money, that's when I bought it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. One question for two. Any recommendations for a quiet chair? Yeah. I mean, this is a gaming chair. I bought it from Staples, or or home, whatever it's called now. But you know, those like staple stores, it was outside, like in boxes. I bought one from me and my son because he's a gamer too. So that's kind of what I use. That's where I got this. It was like $150 or something. Well worth it. I mean, I sit in it a lot. Thank you, Greg. Sweet setup. Marcus, I've been thinking about having chair. Does that have a decent lumbar support? Yes. So it does actually have, if you look down in here, it actually does have some really good support, and down in here so that it keeps your back doing well. So actually great support on this chair. Yes. Yeah, it's a gaming chair. Finding a 3-foot deep table is super expensive. It is, but you know, that's why I ended up and built this thing. And it's very simple because once you get all this, all you have to do is have screws. Do you know what I mean? And you can screw it together and that's it. I plan on doing some courses on how to build these things, but that's later on because I got to go out and rebuy the materials. So, do you think an Apogee would fit that Rode arm? I ask because it's a small mic. So, this is literally this is just a regular pot, like a regular arm for any any mic that can connect to a normal I think it's 3/4 of an inch, but you can have the adapters, right? So you can connect anything. This is just a particular setup. Excuse me. This is just a particular setup for like this piece right here that actually goes with because you see it says audio voice. So, you know, this actually goes with the RE20. So, you know, that's what this set is. But absolutely, you can connect anything to this that has the normal connections. Yeah. Do you have an AC in the booth? So yes, I do. Around the backside with a Whisper Room, you can purchase the AC unit. They are kind of loud, but if you have it decked out correctly, it works. But remember, in the AC unit in a booth, it pulls out the air. Do you know what I mean? So it keeps it cool that way. It doesn't pump air in it. You know, it's got like a return. So that's how it works in there. And yes, I can just plug it in. It's a fan. Plus on the back of it, which is around the back where I've got cords and stuff, there's a series of different boxes and loops that it goes through. So it's quieter. Yeah. For someone just starting, did you ever do an explainer on how to do the Hobo booth? I plan on it. I plan on doing one. I'm going to actually set it up in my garage so that you can see it. I actually did way back when I had it. I showed pictures of them occasionally of my booth, but I never did an explainer on how to do it. So I will do one for you. I just got the NT1. Will it fit in that mic stand setup? Now, is that this one or is it the one in my booth? Now, remember, a regular mic stand, the NT1 will fit anywhere, but it depends on what you have for your shock mount. The shock mount is what you want to connect. Okay, so the shock mount will fit here and it will fit in there. I have an NT1 as well as one of the mics I have. Steve Hoover, got a guy on Fiverr paying me $5 to read about 40 words, but I sync it to the video. I have plenty of time, and he was my very first Fiverr. This is the third job. Okay, Steve. That's good. Good job. Aado, don't forget to finish your editing series too, bud. Oh, yeah. Should I just do it for the experience? Oh, are you asking? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's a separate question. I think for that, in that particular sense, dude, it's up to you. Fiverr is a whole nother, I have a bunch of videos on Fiverr. I love Fiverr. I make a lot of money from Fiverr. Fiverr helped pay for all of this. Do you know what I mean? So people who don't like that platform, it's okay. I'm totally cool with it. I respect them, but it works. It's paid for all of this. I mean, I have, but the marketing that Fiverr has done has brought in a lot of money for me. So I would go for it. Or here's a rule of thumb. If you don't have enough work, do it. If you're so busy that you can't do that, then don't do it. But if you don't have enough work, do it. Let's see. Rich Noble and bro, how has the voice realm been for you so far? Oh, cool. Thanks, Rich. Voice Realm has been good. I've done a couple of jobs on there, so it's been okay. But I'll be honest with you, I'm so busy with my coaching and Fiverr just bringing me so much work that I haven't had a lot of time to audition. So when I do get chances to audition on Voice 123 and on Voice Realm, it does pretty well, but I find that I've got to pump out the auditions in order to get work on those platforms. And right now I'm getting a lot of work coming from me doing other things, like more and more social media stuff I do, the more work comes as well. So I don't have a lot of time, but I can tell you Voice Realm seems to be a pretty awesome place. So I do recommend it. And it's about half the price of like voices.com. So they bring, and I get probably like, I'm not joking, like 5 to 10 auditions, maybe more a day from them. So it's a good platform. And they pay, I mean, it pays great. So that's cool. All right, you guys. Hey, thank you so much. I hope this has been cool to check out kind of my space. And my hope is to keep like adding stuff to the walls and, you know, just kind of making this out to be like my dream place where I spend a lot of hours in as well. So, let's see. Marcus has something earlier. You mentioned your family. I'm curious to see a video on how you navigated those struggles. Obviously, only if you are up to sharing. Yes, a wife that did not leave me. A wife who is willing to stick with me and, you know, not head out the door when I was working all the time. I think we can talk about that later, but it's definitely, guys, this is a business, guys and gals. We have to spend an enormous amount of time. If we don't spend that amount of time, you're going to grow either really, really slow or not grow at all. That's the reality. I can't get around it. It is what it is. So you have to be focused, single-minded, and a lot of times it's hard. It was hard for me, and it continues to be difficult because I want to spend more time with my family, but the more successful I am, the more time I spend. So things I'm working on now are trying to systematize my business. So again, I was very fortunate that my wife was willing to stay with me during a lot of times where I did not see, I mean, I was in my booth a lot and, you know, I was like, I got to record something. And she's like, go pick up the kids. I got to record. So it's for real life. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie, but she's incredible. So, yeah, I'm lucky. Good question. How long did the Voice Realm payments take to process? It depends. If they book it, it's usually like, or if they book you, they do it. If they close out and pay, it's like up to like 7 to 14 days. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We really had a great crowd today. Hopefully this was fun and you saw my life. Please, if you can, give this a thumbs up if you like the video, and please share it and, you know, subscribe if you haven't already, and tick the notification bell. I go live Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. And if you have anything that you particularly would like me to, you know, talk about on this as well, go ahead and feel free to post that below. Thank you guys so much. You have a wonderful Tuesday. Happy November. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace.